I mean, at the end of the day, with a phone. Yeah.
All right. Anope, you better see. And will bring you. I'm sure, say, by number be about 5 for the na ni be CBS year we na fee. You share the final outcome of the Kumawu election. Yeah. So, in the meantime, big thank you for joining us.
Sure. All right. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you. That's it. Kumawu. And I call you no election. I course war and home from our airborne yade. And I got your home on the board. Abroad no Spice 91.9 at the Chimun Sam Jumediro. And I'll pay was Sugusua Wuti. All right, quickly. You better call your name. But you can't catch us. Private schools, they are playing a major role about Ghana. Your education more. One more airborne, more modern. In fact. There are a lot of challenges that we will face from introduction of free senior high school to COVID-19 and then more. And then some of them are still surviving. One more challenges the Americans make ha be but on the pay your told Safra Charles Mintaba Zona Chairman Ghana National Association of Private Schools Secretary Takrade on one so a social commentator okay see election of a boy dim komo an analysis mu edopa here there no Western region the political professor obi ani ho Charles Mintaba very much
Kwame,
yeah.
Last time,
a champion.
The analysis was deep and our feedback was good.
Oh, you got feedback?
I got very good feedback.
It was good.
I think that
it was good.
Most people call it at least I should make time and come for some constituency of listeners.
I see.
So we try to see how we can help shape the political discourse. Very important.
Okay, so private schools. What to the
very nice. I mean, as you rightly said, challenges were about private schools in Ongwi. Okay. When bird flu came to Ghana in the early 80s, it could not kill every fowl.
Okay.
And when there was COVID, not everybody died. So I think the challenges cannot take almost every school out. But it's just that there were challenges that we have to look at how we work on them, considering the kind of contributions that private schools make. And there in the the Education Act that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah brought in gave opportunity to private individuals to go into building schools and complement the role of government. But I now see Dr. Kwame Nkrumah Suna what did them act called parliament there. Abankutin schools were for teachers. Now we deliver education. So there was a need for other individuals to come into the education ladder, and that is why we have had private individuals now owning schools and trying to probably shape the policy wise, because in terms of access there were jurisdictions were even Ebeso Kendita Krara Efa Mpatado, the entire Mpatado now every Mpatado Ediba Dr. Tewia, you can't cite in a public school. No one private schools are Mary Paham, Ahinba International, Sakis Foundation, na Ponti around there. No, they try to leverage and probably complement the role of government. That once 6 schools were where would they have been to? More from an hour or young fan there, those schools offer up to let's say 200 kids. Those 200 kids would have been committing to far distance too, and in some cases it's risky. Nansaya Yahu Accra, when kids were committing to through the river to go and access education, they got drowned. So that is what distance can bring to. It's very sad. That's what distance can bring. The risk distance can bring to people committing far away to access just public education. The education that is a basic need in everybody. Because every child in Ghana has a right to education. And to move by and say, school. I'm not under any law. No, you will have to take the person. The person must access right to education. So private schools have come to stay, and we provide this. But the FA-based BEC resource across the country. Now, if your resource now, just take the space of performance. But you will agree with me that it is still the private schools that play major roles.
Yeah.
And if the logistics they are to use and do that also. Sometimes we hire individuals that probably you may think that they are not. But for me, when it comes to human resources, for instance, if a GBC, now it's a GBC, Nipa, Obetoma, Yajuma, or GBC, Nipa, Oko School of Journalism. Meanwhile, we have individuals in the private space, let's say private radio station, one called GBC. Their owners have not even had some background training entrepreneur, and their owners are doing very, very well.
Okay.
They themselves are doing very well. So when it comes to the job market, and that's one for private school teaching, what makes the magic is supervision.
I see.
Supervision or oba nipa no woman the targets of work, output of work is counted, he's supervised. So no matter the on training the person has got, he deliver results, and that is why results no oma private schools are able to catch people who feel that they will ought to. Second, the parental role in the private space is also very constant engagement of this parent ensures them to know a nema was wobeye, let's say in terms of what they will have to get the logistics for their kids. So if about or private school, the kind of attention that the parent will have to have, because the school involves the child to ensure that we can get it. I quite agree that yes, Obibeka there, yes, or 12 fees, the school is no or so. And there Ajubanko Ampesi Yeboka and Sanayedi. Yeah. But with all this requirement, it's bereft with a lot of challenges.
Yeah. There was a young guy of course St. Peter's, but all of a sudden, no, as I'm sorry, I mean, who said, or she's St. Peter's at Ariane. And then I was school, I say, like students.
Okay.
But me who was we just school one, and then I realized a BC, baba.
Yeah.
And the trend of parent almost a woman public school. No?
Yeah.
I think Yadoso.
Yes. And that is why we intro. The challenges come from policy. They come from COVID and all that. The exemplary society has to do with the policy directions and certain things that are meted out in Ghana Education Service. Abofrana or school or Fiena one shop St. Peter's Atare. Equasha Oko do form 2. Na awofuna jun there one a very good foundation. One fanunko public school bia or baby. Na wako register wo na nala or form 2 numpo was the best, may be the best in that school. Yeah. As a result of that, one man in secondary school noko. So he's ahead of his colleagues who are in St. Peter's now. So that is what, because of good foundation now, basic school, private school, no. Parents take advantage by taking their kids to Form 2. So as a result of that alone affects a lot of schools. Minuka say there is a school just around this body. Fijai sketch her before Echo and Tankofo. Moframa 17 no Fiho. There's a school in Anaji 17 in Form 2. There's a school in Anaji. Efi Anaji Nkrofu Junction and Drew Anaji. There's a school there, 18 of them left there in Form 2. There's another school around the mall. Anaji. I just want you to understand that we're through Form 2. We from to go and write exams. I get in it. Yeah. I don't think that I don't need to hide. Schools like Queen of Peace, school like Greater Heights, school like J. Chris, school like San Francis, school like Woodbridge, school like the challenge we have is that because there are very good foundation, we're just school in Form 2, sometimes in Form 1. Now we're called BEC. So if you saw St. Peter's boy, it is one of the challenges we face. That Moframano, in most cases, look at this scenario. A boy from one of the schools I've just mentioned was the SP or the SP of the school.
Yeah.
The SP of the school, no papa so wafa in front of him. Now SP of the school got 09. no matter what happened, or a private school choir, what happened on young fans pim. Now the papa say there are people who say that echo school maybe you can talk to the headmaster now one on protocol system. All the kono now one who so the school guy or yet SP form 2 boy. Now nala form 2 boy now ojai school no cultural form 2 no. Oshe fancy pim uniform now no papa oja no papa kon at the gate. Now was so but the boy was daddy. That is why when I was informed to, I was telling you that you should allow me to go and write this examination because this boy was informed to. Nana Papa say, I was just preparing you to probably. Hello, I was just preparing you to probably come and go through the mill so that ebeye. And do you know the story? What occurred and finally the man got the SP into the school. Now, Pim Archbishop Porter girls, Ahantaman girls, GSTS, were Zambia were entering exams. The exams is the first year people wabano. So not know that they go and use topics like at the 3rd year JHS topics. Now what they set the exams now what the mom. This boy who was in the school, out of 1,000 something students that they took, was over 1,000 position there. Now Espino asserted his position. He was part of 1st to 10. What it means is that because Onya Buter no oko school no, 3-year JHS period no, he was more matured for the examination that they cited at the school. Nipa orashi no, oba there what the form 3 topics or the man no, now onko form 3 no. At the end of the day, want to answer. These are some of the weaknesses that Abanompoa de Abade. It is wrong. It is against the WAIC rules for you to go and register a minor and qualified candidate. But because of Aban there, a system no more, people take advantage of that. They go to put them write this examination, and it is working against them when they go to SS. Not all of them are able to because one prepare the year no by. So what show them entrance exam now our problem? There are few of them who will still go and perform. But how many are there? Out of 100, if they are 10, it means that you didn't get to that. So that is one of the challenges that apart from COVID, apart from the fact that and which school fees are some parents sentiment to her, that major thing makes us lose our very good candidates who could have made 9 once in their 3rd year, go to write and make an aggregate that at least on your aggregate 42 or better in your school because he's in a secondary school. And when you go, there's a learning deficit because he was not properly prepared for the 3-year JHS period. He has been rushed in the 3-year free SHS period. So at the end of the day, remedials. And if you raise a child that way, who could have taken a time and go to SS level and go and pass? Now, a rational, be a rational form 2. What do you call Seku? Or do you call now or quiet now or some rational in form 2 or strong wasi? He didn't pass. When you go to the 3rd year, he didn't make it. They had to now take a hair again to one of the private secondary schools like Adil or St. Andrew to pay over 8,000 Ghana cedis for him to pass. And now he has now passed, and he is technically in university with her JHS from 3 people. So when you take costs, in terms of cost he has incurred the parents before, he's now even in the same year with no collects now over JHS. So it would have been better that you delay. It's better to delay in the bush as a hunter and come with grass cutter than to rush home with unripe mangoes.
I get it. Even in that decision, as a parent, you have to really know the strength of the kid.
That's right.
Not necessarily say jump but
you really know the strength of the kid.
You really have to know the strength of the kid.
Yes, you ought to, because in terms of age, nani age did not allow, because they could allow you to even enter class 1 by letting you measure your hand here. If you get here, it means that you are within the age of 6 years, 7 before at that level. There's some level of maturity that and when we got to second, we were the last batch of Form 4. So finally there, Obiako class 6. One middle school Form 1 to Form 4. Before Oba secondary school Form 1. that person is different from somebody who wrote entrance exam from class 6 and came to secondary school form 1. The line of maturity between the two are not the same. Before that person will, after committing classes from 4 years and doing O level and A level, spending 7 years in secondary school and somebody spending 3 years in secondary, the two are not the same.
No.
So sometimes Yama Abofrano or go through the process now. It gives the Abofrano some level of maturity to be able to withstand. Those days now, young papa no or you form for no. Ultimately, as a mature person. Ultimately, as a mature person. But some of these our people appointee or want to mention in their homework. In your homework, I want to mention. Very few of them are doing well. So is that the process we are looking for? May Russia Bofrano. That's the first.
But for the whole private schools, how are you dealing with this? Government policies.
But what we have done is that at least a few of the directors have sent signal that once it is against a rule that a register manual. So what they do is that they try to sanction public school head teachers. Okay. So what they have done now is that very soon you see the heads rule. We have a data system of all Form 3, Form 2, Form 1 students with their date of birth.
Okay.
In all the districts with their public colleagues. And they are beginning to see somebody's name in between a private school and a public school. Even they are getting some within the same private school.
Okay.
And they are getting some within the same public school too. So all these things are things that they are coming. And gradually it is going to the secondary school. And in there, even under for secondary school, year 1 Kofua, we do Form 3, they are not ready to even register under the name of the public secondary school. We can register or a private school like Adilu or St. Andrews. That thing is also coming up. That Ako school under free SHS. Abana spend a sika on you. You come, you have to registration is also free. You say that you don't want to register under the school. You want to go and register in a private school. So
but what's the incentive?
Yes. Some of them feel that when they go to the private school that they can pass.
Oh, okay.
Are you getting it? But you remember, government has incurred cost on you. That is why let's begin to look at this free SHS policy. That IMF is even saying that that we with our targeting in that area is poor. We either give it to those who can pay or those who exhibit the character that they don't need it, because it is also revealing at the SS level that almost all the secondary schools in the region here have 1 or 2 kids who have refused to register though they are in Form 3 and have gone to register somewhere. So we ought to look at that. There idea where you're free amount, everything is okay. There's a particular school I know they were following them to register. Offer an abofrana for her, offer her, no offer her, offer her, no offer her. And it is free. They don't register you and take money. So we ought to look at that attitude of even government policy where it is. You know that at the basic school level, school is supposed to be free because of capitation grant.
Yeah.
And you see some people refusing to go and to private school. So my question is that Kwame, when you are the banana waha, there yendiemu. Now me and you, Kwame, we have refused that we will eat that food because God is love for God is love for. We don't need to go and fight with authorities of God is love. The price of a grass cutter is high. It's by choice. Even in the private school system, we have low cost private school. Your private school a semester with 20,000. You are aware? The international private school who run Cambridge program pay 20,000 Ghana cedis a semester, and people have decided to go there, and they pay. You have private school, you go there, the hostel that they give to the child, air condition 1-to-1. He serves breakfast, he serves lunch, and very good supper. They pay good money. The private school are they fly for excursion to London and back before they complete that secondary school. They are there. Now your private schools are no school fees, no, the entire term no under 60 cedis. Now no papa to me to.
I see.
Your private school is less than 60 cedis a term. Meaning private school or Mampong area what the 40 cedis a term. So 40 cedis a term no. So that obviously 40 cedis a man, 120 in 3 months. So you ask what kind of teacher can he hire to teach the people?
Yeah.
So obia 20,000 no obviously 40,000. Just yesterday you saw on the TV network that Abofra Ofinifi also baby oteno for the past 5 years or so, no papa na no man one light will live in an uncomfortable. So all your no homework will under street light. That is life for you. Such a person schools in the public so baby are polite. So sometimes I dey away in there or stay in the school to do all the homework because light in the fee. And now oba no work street light, and that is risky. Street light not no obi be to kidnap no.
Yeah.
Because bisa no no papa na no ma wo so omo fie, but street light and want to maintain one or your homework.
Yeah.
So even in the private school space, we have low cost private school, as low as nothing. But you have people who cannot still afford that. Yes, I quite agree. But they want to access private education. Now, another important point is that the challenges in the private school has to do with that. The children who are there, one papa know your taxpayers. The difference between a public school and a private school is that the private school building now you pay property rate on it as a business owner to the district assembly.
Yeah.
Now, apart from that, the district assembly benefits from you from property rate and business operating license. In the case of the public school that is started there, we don't get the abanoye. Apart from that, your income tax on your people and your SNIT and all that is paid by you because you operate a business. You do all that. And when it comes to government policy, such as why distribute to school textbooks because they have changed the curriculum, you are not part because you operate a private school. When they are training the teachers to go for curriculum training, I could do one with your teachers. They tell them that the government has paid even lunch for the public school guys. You, the owner, will ought to go and pay for your teachers because it is private. That is a challenge you ought to take. You need to take all these things, pay all that because they think that you charge fees. And to a large extent, when COVID came, most of the students at the time that government declared that we should go home, declared at the time that people were owing school fees. At the time we came back, people left those schools. So what happens to the fees that they were being owed? So this is a challenge that poses that when it comes to government policy, knowing very well that we pay taxes. You begin to do things that makes us look inconvenient. And I tell you, one of the reasons that we went to IMF, and the IMF report, if you read it very well, is that government is having problem with poor revenue mobilization.
Yeah.
That's a serious thing. So if you have the private sector, that there is a data system that makes them pay taxes. So we are stakeholders who should be taken seriously. Go to some private institutions and see how they take care of their customers. They know that they bring a lot of money to them. They treat them with kid gloves, but that is not how the Ghanaian business owner and the private school is treated. After you make sure that even the good number of people who should have been employed by government, that government did not make policy to employ them, you have them. There are over 120 something private schools in ECMA alone, 135 in STM. Take them together, almost 250. Take the teachers. If averagely all these 250 recruits only 10 teachers, times 250, that is a bill that has absorbed by private sector. And if all these school buildings that are there pay property rate of just even 200 Ghana cedis times 250, you know the money we are giving to district assembly.
Yeah.
Take it that even 150 property rate across. And you know property rate, they count the number of rooms and the building that they charge you. So if we do all this to district assembly, we do all this to the fact that we pay taxes. When you bring policies such as free distribution of textbooks, we ought to have a leverage of having it. When you have training for private schools, we need to also have people who can assess them because our kids' parents are Ghanaian taxpayers. And that we ought to understand that there are monumental things that should come from government. Because if you go to other developed countries, there is a deliberate policy to grow almost every school because of the contribution that those private schools bring in. But Ghana, onye dam naughty. So you have to agenda if we have the same policy. Could we have grown even radio stations if we had policies that were supposed to probably undermine radio stations and grow public broadcasters at the detriment of private? The job that these private stations are doing, we think that we can leave it on the shoulders of only public. Okay. It is the same thing that quality education cannot be residing on the head and jurisdictions of public schools unless private schools are gotten in. And so we look at access in terms of employment, in terms of unkofuna yefano, and in terms of some of the contributions na because the private schools have produced individuals that when you go to do, the boy who led the Brilliant Science and Maths quiz was coming from St. Francis. He had started from he had started from St. Peter's and got to St. Francis and he completed. He led the group. Where did he come from? From public school? The boy, the girl currently, Nanam Anketia, who currently is going for the spelling bee in US on the 30th, the second runner, is a student of St. Francis. Is he coming from a public school? No. Has he not raised the name of Ghana?
Yeah.
So if his father is paying tax, and then there are textbooks that they are giving to Nanama Nketia, at the end of the day, Nanama should not have it because his father has chosen to put him in a private school. You think that we should run things that way? Yeah. If the private sector is an engine of group, what kind of engine is that? An engine that battery cannot spark it. So we ought to look at that because the private sector cannot be taken away in any sector at all. Be in industry, be in education, be anything at all.
Is the 30% quota still working?
Yes, to a large extent. Actually, 30% quota now was brought out to grow and develop low-profile
schools,
public schools.
Okay.
You find the window, and now if window JHS on a computer lab, and Abofratimu go through a school like that, and Abofranu oko a school on your aggregate. I mean, not one fairly, but on Sharanya, Papa, on Sharanya single aggregate. Now offer Archbishop Portages and now or your Benina offer GSCS and now Fancy Supreme category A school. It means that preference will be given to such a person to just encourage that baby are offering a oko to see them school and an ultimate channel where man of preference. But in recent times, that is giving some disadvantage to our kids in private school. That abofrano and when they grade now or channel, yen nipa na trap even a single digit and better. And you saw the last results that they did. That you realize that to a large extent, most of the people were given schools that they didn't like. And I quite agree with you that schools now what do one corner are equally very good secondary schools. But the question is that Nipa now target a particular school.
Yeah.
And wanted those schools. So and Damna is disadvantage. So placement do not favor us as private schools. But what it making parents understand is that for some secondary school. Do you know that somewhere along the line, statistics is revealing that some of the students who they place in those schools end up not even additional on yet. Because nipa na wodi no two Archbishop Portages and ahantama na GSTS
unfit
neglect unfit unfit at the end of the day from 3 years no we through so what side chance no protocol what side protocol because Offer could have gone there but they've given preference to him leaving Offer. Yeah. Offer has gone to a low profile school. Offer has completed nala oko hono what side penalty no. So that is what we need to. I think
over time,
a diagnosis system.
We have to.
Nipano.
We have.
Adia open.
Yeah.
Me look at some wo minyankubi. Nipano to see science. On your aggregate 12. Now woman the science war. One of the secondary schools here. Fijai. And then the papa say he has a welding company, and opero or grow nipano. Ale in that line.
That line. Yeah.
Now, but friends, Onyes 12 no okoye science no. Ni nyankofo basere because when na per science na no so oyade. So no. I have to sit you down to understand the career path I'm getting for you. And when they juma na me ye. Yeah. Na me different. Na when they nkofo bebre wo ba. So if you go through this even up to the technical university level now you have more ideas about leaving this company and do it in a refined way. Yeah. And Abofrano, it wasn't easy. Abofrano had to summon his father before the father's father. The man still insisted that Nala no Opera Oko, they succeeded in getting the child out to TTI. Okay. Oko TTI no, Ocho fine through welding no, or they call technical university. From Technical University, I don't call GMP so yeah attachment, and I tell you, she has a very well-paid job. She has a very well-paid job, and she Sudan supervises ne papa ne welding. She gives the fathers ideas because she gets jobs from the fathers from her company to her father's work. Wow. And one course school name do it now. These ideas wouldn't have been coming. Yeah. Minimum Abofrabia what didn't call Wesley Girls last 2 years. Nala no catch and no papa there or TTI.
Oh, yeah, Wesley.
Yes, opportunity. I never want to. But her interest is that she wants to get there. She is there. Wow. So that is what I'm saying is that we need to work on vocational education. They are mama from today. Nipa owa san jumanu. Odidiche nipa owo book. Yeah. And san jumanu name national service, attachment. This now long way before you build your CV. Yeah. The boys who are in TTI, Minuka say, and them there walk them traffic light school, walk break now. And more from will enroll in Kokompe that their parents took them to TTI. This long break they are at Kokompe learning the practicals. So what back in June to complete the first semester, they are well advanced in their career. Yeah. So what the way to go in this country is that there are people we push through free SHS who technically would have had attention on vocational education. So that at the end of the day, on secondary school, no, but on vocational education, obey she will be well imbued. Second, the Menukasa, do you know that it is very difficult to get a male servant now because of free SHS? Obey a local school. And when they were advertiser, you will be driving around also. House help. Those days, I could refer you that I have my sisters and brothers in the north. You can bring them. And people in there. One year name was stew. People in there. Everyone has someone say God bless you. It's not a smart one for phone and transfer. They don't know those things. Yeah. I get them. But for now, we don't have those things because everybody is rushing to have that secondary education. As to whether they are prepared and care for it psychologically, emotionally. And that is why, as a country, we need to engage that. The counseling system now was schools. Now, Abofrabia, Emanu, or share, Ade Opera, Abofrabia, what he wants to do. Yes, TVET is that is why this government has even created a director general for TVET, which is an excellent idea. The policy is good, but it's up to us. One, Yema on tools no one yejuma. The way Yetimo uses secular education in this country, regional director of education, district director of education. So yeah, what them director for TVET now. Nanususu Oma that attention so that we will allow kids. In policy wise, when we push it, we will then also have to let the individual understand that nipa okoye welding, nipa okoye mechanic, nipa okoye carpenter or electrician, or nipa urban. Let's remove that thing from our heads because a lot of mechanic artisans who are financially independent,
very stable.
I'm telling you, they are stable. Yeah. No, only time to because his job pays well. Let's begin to work on the cycle of this young man. Now, when them sakawa quick money, that fried rice type of life. A lot of young boys live fried rice type of life during the process of preparation. What happened? They want during the process of struggle, and now you don't do that. You need to look at the cause for it. So for me, this is what we ought to understand. Okay. Nipa no understand that. Look, and you'll be an Obeko University, or you'll be an Obeko, that kind of thing.
My main for 5 minutes in my listeners. Challenges are private schools, you know, one face through government policy. And go for you, Mawaya West, and go for you, free private schools, but no more public schools. And I'm saying, the result was a public school, no credit year, I can be in the school. Anyway, Mundim pass a course wapa, private schools, Ningwana. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, officer.
Yeah, one in your name.
Officer,
all right, what did Tony Uncle?
Officer, okay. Private schools is the free education. What can you add? The woman won't put up by it. Then we are burning on private school to watch. Once you said all that free education, but that's a private school later. Don't be all in school. Or what look more than our private aid. These are all private schools softly. So, if you know, yes, then what for my set no one to private school and one way to what for my set to another one go another education section. What you want more where you are watching to part of make most. So, no, I think private school, no, be a government school, doing an aggregated method, what the aggregate number come up, our private school, but one with you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No information are from no more yet. Because of government schools teachers in Wapo, but private school teachers, majority for secondary school.
Okay. That's it. Before from hello, good morning.
Yeah, morning.
Yeah. Portugal Yeni.
Oh, Marcos in Akantawas.
All right. Marcos, you
including the Manitia, Lawadin, the Kujukum, not honorable John Kudu Ajari, Nujuma Power, Ewa Antawas. The Baba, the call summer over there. So, what that basic level now? So, yes, sir, private schools, taking a 100 bar, what about? Government schools and so on, or Malaysia or two, another boy.
Yeah, Casa.
Okay, basic level there. So, at the basic level now, private school no, was in Yamalu, for Papa. Government side no, or in Yamano, or film Kaka. The same thing, not equal, secondary school level, Asha, private schools will suffer because of one facilities in Yemen are already in but equal government school side now, secondary school now, only one in Yemen, car error. If you can there, everywhere, one children listening there, within facilities in the secondary school and more. Not in Yemen, I don't know or the interest no about the other professor there, so I'm for government school or other. It's I mean, there, challenges no equivalent. All the Russia because that private school secondary school where the corner massa and campus when I talk about Malaysia actually American Asia. It's also everyone one show want to so what to I think the one about government all the different government even for government so sometimes women can make the actually and you do personal business so you will attractive but fire than alcohol. Then we look at a better secondary school. Attractive.
Hello. Okay. Hello. Okay. But that's it. Thank you. Also, better you quickly and share challenges are private schools, you know, one more FAC and good morning.
Good morning, boss.
Yamiadum. Also,
oh, Yakupon Adam.
All right. Why? My radio don't go for me. Kissy, my radio don't go for why?
Yeah. All right. Wakufu. Dr. Grace Ucho, it's got to tell you. We come in and also will be Jumahan. When I'm so calm. Boss, let the Yakupon Afe. There, Saimaska, all 24,000. What's in there? One from the community upon develop. Masa, kaya the copy need to quadra. Never know, boss. Community yell bread. Poverty disparity. It may go baby no baby so that should be in me. Remember you two us bread the champion city. Masa, if you put in my eating should not bed then. Into the miscan, what for more community? If you 2,000 and pure water.
even 1,000 Ghana that you did on that one, you get to take and now that you get to go. What do you for more? No, what discuss them more this whole street lighting. I do go when you go. The big that person there to check and then also woman MPP. Oh, I don't. I can't wear more yakwachi. Your mama, why is there, Madonna?
Okay, but I say, education as somebody eka. Now say, maybe on the nominal time a bit with Yamano, I don't know. Yeah, near challenges at private schools, no, one more face it that maybe out in the nominal. And in line with Anopedia, some more year can tea. Waka cray, yes. Charles Midaba, a time I soon to your call. Yen can be